Thanks for tuning in to the FiredUP Network. I'm Gerald Bentley. This is TimeOut, Kansas City. We're going through, it was a crazy week of sports with good news, bad news, and a little bit of in between, and some just weird stories. Joined by Chris, the Playmaker Stimson from Hot 103 Jams. Slam the Z's. He brings you home in the afternoon here in Kansas City. And longtime Kansas City sports talk host. You've heard him in the city for years.
Long
going
time.
back, going back a decade, right?
It's been a minute. I've been doing it since I've been doing radio before probably Chris was around back in '93, I think it was, as an intern at 103.
Yep, there you go. So
long time ago.
There's a legacy. There's a lineage. Darren Smith, he hosts The Ship. You can hear him on KLKC and find some great content online. Just got back from a little MMA in Vegas, which
boxing.
Really
Boxing, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Premier Boxing, PBC.
Awesome. Well, I'm a big fan of boxing. I used to cover boxing. This is dating me. I was the BBC's boxing correspondent on radio back when Mike Tyson lived with Don King outside of Cleveland.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So not boxing, but a story you could see coming out of the world of boxing. It kind of broke the news because you're thinking, hey, man, the Chiefs got it figured out now. We got Hollywood Brown. Now we got our receivers. We're good to go. And hopefully this doesn't curtail Rashee Rice's ability to play the whole season, but it's never good when it's not only ESPN, it's the regular news networks are reporting that the police are searching for Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice. Herm Edwards used to say, the guys can do anything, but I don't want to hear when they're off, da-da-da, da-da-da, and then the player's name. Well, this is worse. It was on ABC News on Good Morning America. Racing cars, and, we were talking off air. You drive through Kansas City, you see it all the time. I'll have Chargers, Challengers, Corvettes. A couple of weeks ago, somebody was trying to race a Challenger with the Malibu. Hey, you're losing. But you see it all the time. In this case, it ends up as being reported now by TMZ. The Lamborghini and the Corvette racing are both Rashee Rice's cars. What do you guys think of this? What do you think is going to come up?
I don't know if I should let Chris start on it first or not, but
that's fine.
I'll jump in. I'll be honest. I have to kind of watch what I say because I do cover the team. So just comments and stuff can maybe be taken the wrong way by either the PR staff or the
everything's
no. I mean, no, it's fine. I mean, I'm saying what I'm saying, but I'm just saying I just had to put that precursor out there because
absolutely.
I have to interview the players. I have to deal with Rashee during the season and stuff like that. But obviously, there's something that's alleged. He did say that those vehicles were his responsibility. I also believe it was stated that he was the driver of the vehicle as well. According
I haven't heard that, but allegedly.
Okay, well, according to the lease that he signed with the Lamborghini people, he was the only one that could drive that vehicle.
Yeah.
So now, if someone else is driving it, then that's something he's got to deal with himself. That's something else he's going to deal with. But according to, I guess, what I saw on TMZ, he did say he'll, replace the Lamborghini in full.
Yeah.
I believe the Corvette, I believe he owned that because I believe he had that during the Super Bowl. So I think that was his own vehicle. Look, honestly, for me, I'm disappointed, but I'm also pissed because, when you're in high school, coming from certain parts of the city where I'm sure he grew up at, you do what you can to make it through college and to get to a position where you can, put yourself in a position to get drafted to a professional sports league and to be able to get some type of income that can not only help you, but help your family, and then put yourself in position years down the line to get that second contract to get some generational wealth. And the fact that you would do something that stupid, putting not only putting yourself in harm's way for doing something like that, but also putting other people's lives in jeopardy. And what disappoints me is that when it all went down, I saw a lot of fans, mostly Chiefs fans, on Twitter, more or less, talking about he's young, give him grace. You
Sure.
know what? Running a stoplight because you're trying to get to work and you get pulled over, I can give you grace. But when you're driving 130 miles an hour on a highway that's not built for that, and you're driving two vehicles that's built for the racetracks, and you're putting other people's lives in jeopardy, I have to have a zero tolerance when it comes to that because now I have to question your judgment, on anything on the field as well as off the field, because now I can't trust you. Now, he'll come and, he'll, I think, the lawyer put out a statement about, he's concerned about the people that were involved. Well, no, you wasn't, because you walked away from it and didn't bother to stop by. So, when we get a chance to talk to him, I'm going to press him. Now, I can't speak for anybody else, but I'm going to press, because look, I've been in auto accidents. I've been head on collisions, with drunk drivers and stuff that have crossed lanes. And I'll never forget. I was taking my little brother to the car wash to wash a vehicle that I had bought, and a guy at 4:00 in the afternoon. This is out off of Blue Ridge, near Grandview. Drunk guy, 4:00 in the afternoon in a blue Ford Mustang convertible, crossed lanes and hit me head on. And the crazy part is, I had just left the radio station because I was in town. I was in town working for interning with a guy named Tony G at the time at the station, and I was leaving the station, and because I was leaving, and picked him up, go to the car wash because he wanted to go to the car wash with me, my baby brother at the time. And when that happened, they was expecting me back. I had to make sure my mom them called, let them know I'm in a car accident, head on collision, that I'm not gonna be able to come back at the time. So, stuff like that. Especially when you look at what the Chiefs had to deal with when it comes to Britt Reed and Andy Reid, his son, with the car accident, and that was alcohol involved with that. So, and there may have been some other things in the vehicle that I'm not going to address because I have to wait for everything to come out. But again, I'm very disappointed because he didn't use good judgment at all, and it's not the fact that you not only put yourself, but you allow somebody else to get behind your other vehicle, and you just didn't. I mean, I just can't right now.
No, that really sums it up, because I mean, going back, I was mentioning that Herm Edwards line, but Herm is right. I mean, the biggest thing you want is to get through the offseason with nothing coming up, and it really kind of now puts a little cloud of doubt over the Chiefs. I mean, thankfully nobody seriously injured, because that would be even worse. I mean, we saw in Las Vegas,
got injured, but to the extent
injured, but not not Henry Ruggs, like where his career's over. He, vehicular homicide, and Ruggs is in jail in Las Vegas. So thankfully not something like that didn't occur, but definitely leaves a doubt on the Chiefs offseason now, and you're almost in the position like the Chiefs were by most people's accounts. I mean, nobody's ever going to admit it, that they drafted McCole Hardman because they were worried about Tyreek Hill being suspended. Do you draft a wide receiver now in the first pick?
Well, I think you still do it just because it's still a position of need. I mean, I would, but again, I don't know what Brent Beach has in mind, but I would have done it regardless of what took place with Rashee Rice. But now I still, I would lean into it even more right now. But that's just me.
Yeah, and for me, I know that highway that he was on. If anybody's been in Dallas, if you've driven on Central Expressway, that's not the highway you out there to be driving 100 miles per hour. It can be scary. Those lanes are kind of, not saying narrow, but they extended it a little bit. But still, just to see that, to be driving that crazy into a car that you're leasing and you're not thinking about other people's lives, that's not a good look. And he's from the area, so he has to know what he's doing. He's from North Richland Hills, which is outside of Fort Worth, so he should know better, especially over there going to SMU. The logic it's got to be way better than what he's doing. And he's got to know that you actually now have a chance to live up, like you say, for the season that he had and nobody expected for him to have. More responsibilities are coming for you for 2024. You're counted on more to be reliable and to be there, and to see that happen, that shows that he still's got a lot to learn. But like you say, more eyes will be on him now because the trust factor is going to be not there as much as it probably was before. And like you said, some of the other incidents, including with Andy Reid's son, like that is definitely not a good look coming out of Arrowhead to see that.
Well, something that I've never really understood, and this goes back years covering all major sports. Why not have a driver? I was covering the Cleveland Indians at the time, now the Guardians, when Manny Ramirez was a young outfielder for him, and Manny got pulled over speeding in a sports car in reverse on West 25th Street. If you're familiar with Cleveland, it's like 20 blocks away from the stadium. It's a nightclub, kind of a nightclub restaurant area. Speeding in reverse in a sports car, and they pulled him over. He had 8 driver's license, none of which were his, 8 fake IDs, and just makes you wonder why did you have a driver? What are you doing? But let's get on to the field and take a look. The big trade that we were waiting to happen happened. L'Jarius Sneed goes to the Titans, and the Chiefs receive a swap of 7th-round picks this year and a 3rd-round pick next year. So probably a little bit better than they would have gotten if they just let him walk, but not what, that's what was being expected.
Had he gone, he just get nothing. So
you would have got a compensation pick, but it would have been a year later. But so now you get a 3rd next year, and there's no questioning it. Do you feel a good trade? I mean, I think the Chiefs kind of were stuck. They had to move him.
Well, no, it wasn't that. It's a good trade because I've seen how Kansas City has, and I've seen how Brett Veach has operated since he's become the GM. And if you pay close attention, you'll see that they've been fortunate to draft well. And they've also been fortunate that those draft picks have played immediately to where it's paying off dividends. But what I noticed after the first, not the first because they brought everybody back, but essentially after they lost to Cincinnati, made certain trades to bring Orlando Brown in, and stuff like that. But when they ran it back and then got a chance to win that Super Bowl against the second Super Bowl against the Eagles, what they allowed to do was to let that draft class, because that first draft class came in the Super Bowl year that they won. But what they were going to allow those players to do is to go somewhere else so they can get some generational wealth. Now, the Chiefs could have decided they wanted to sign some of those players back, but they feel like we drafted well, and we drafted players to follow them as well, especially if you look at the defensive backfield, all those players that contribute as well. So you got Juan Thornhill, but you also brought in Justin Reed, but you also brought in, Cooks and some of those other players that back them up. Now you give them a chance to play, and you still got them on their rookie deals. So what you're allowing, so you allow McCole Hardman, a Treverius Ward after the first Super Bowl. You also allow Juan Thornhill go to sign with another team where they can get more money for their family, for themselves, and which is the same thing essentially with L'Jarius Sneed. The Chiefs tagged him, so they wanted him, but if they can get compensation and somebody else paying him, saying the big dollars, if we can get, again, he's going to have generational wealth, because I think his contract is like 4 years, $75 million, 56 or 60, fully guaranteed. So that's generational wealth, and he doesn't have to worry about. So I think probably sometime this week, that signing bonus check hits his bank account, so he's good. And so the Chiefs get those draft picks, but you already got players who backed them up. But Joshua Williams has been on the team the last 2 seasons. Now he gets a chance to start, and you still got him for this year and next year on his rookie deal on the 6th round or late round draft. So you're getting these players for cheap that's playing at a high level, and it allows you to spend the big money on positions of need, i.e. a Chris Jones and money that they'll need for maybe a Trey Smith or Creed Humphreys, other players that they're going to need. So, I get, I understand what they're doing, and I don't, look, for someone that covers the team and interviews the players every day and after the game, stuff like that, you develop a relationship with them, and so you would love to see them here, but you also you also know that they're not going to be here only for a season, and if they can get their money somewhere else, boom. So be it. We'll keep in contact. We keep in contact. But I'm happy for Legarius that he got his money,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I do understand what the Chiefs are doing. So I'm sorry, Chris.
No, you good. You good. That's why I
No,
love
it's
getting the
all
insight from
good
you, man.
stuff.
I'm with that.
But
yeah.
Chris,
go ahead.
I mean, it is showing that the salary cap's real in the NFL.
Yeah, and like we talked about the other week, like Brett Veach doesn't keep cornerbacks. He let go of Marcus Peters. He's let go of Charvarius Ward. He's let go now of L'Jarius Sneed, and he's shown that he can replace cornerbacks. Like he knows how to find a cornerback. He knows how to find certain draft pieces. So I'm not worried about him finding another replacement, and so I think they'll be okay on that end. It's just a matter of, like I said, who you going to pay? You going to pay Sneed or you going to pay Chris Jones? You got to pay Chris Jones. You got to keep him in the fold.
Yeah, there's not a lot of guys out there that can do it. Chris Jones did, and even one less. Aaron Donald's not going to play this year. They did make a little bit of news too. We added a H-back or a fullback, probably. Louis Race Zemit, a rugby player from the UK. What do you guys think, Eric? It's projected that he's going to be an H-back.
Yeah. What you think, Darren? Have you looked at any tape? What you thinking?
I have not looked at the tape, but I did look at his measurables. I mean, he's 6'3", 2 something, and he runs a 4.40. Now look,
Great athlete.
Yeah, so I was there, and because it said he also may play receivers, so I mean, you never. And so, what I could see now, my only concern was they made a big deal out of it, but then you turn around and you re-sign Clyde Edwards-Helaire today to a 1-year deal, and you also bringing in, I think, somebody who played for the Baltimore Ravens, I believe that they
was it J.K. Dobbins. I saw
J.K. Dobbins. Yeah. So they brought him in for a workout. So I'm like, so I'm like, now look, I mean, obviously you got to have some depth behind Isaiah Pacheco, and I'm imagining, I don't know if Jared McKinnon's contract is, I don't know if he's good for one more year, or last year was his last year now, so I have to go back and check. But I mean, the Chiefs, a couple of things that Brett Veach can do. He can draft. He's shown he can draft well recently, but also having depth at all the key positions. And so, look, you can never have enough good running backs, wide receivers, and I think obviously we look at the wide receiver room based off of what happened last year, to where it's like, the drop balls and stuff, and everybody's wanting Brett Veach to go out and make moves. Trust me, it wasn't like he wasn't trying to. I do know he was trying to make some moves, and there was a lot of stressful nights throughout the season, especially when the Chiefs were losing, because I saw it on the man's face during the games we were on the road. Whatever, it's like, damn, bro, because usually we would chit chat before the game, especially on the road. I don't really see him or talk too much at home during the home games, but on the road, he sits in the press box, literally behind me most games. So, I always get a chance to talk to him during intermission or something like that. And, most of the time this season, he was just one of those moves where you don't really want to approach him because he's stressed, because he's like, man, these Chiefs fans are on my head. And then, I did a podcast with Patrick Mahomes' auntie, and she went off on him, went off. And I was on the thing, I couldn't.
Got to hook him up.
Yeah, I was just like, I was thinking like, man, I hope you don't get upset at me. I'm like, she said it, but I mean, what she said was true at the time. I mean, he wasn't, he could have, should have been trying to get some other people, but the fact that they, win the Super Bowl, got there and won and stuff like that, you can look back, he can breathe, but he also knows that, okay, I gotta do some stuff to clean up the mess that took place this past season, to make sure that doesn't happen again. Because one of the things that they've done, they have structured Mahomes' salary in such a way, and his contract in such a way, that every season he shouldn't be having any weaknesses. I mean, whether a position of need is a receiver, he'll restructure his contract. Well, he'll take most of that salary that year, the signing bonus. You can lower the salary, so you can go out and and it'll
kick it back.
Yeah, and granted, his contract kicks down, but Patrick's gonna get every penny that he's owed. So it's just a matter of how long, whether it's 25 years, he's gonna get that money. I mean, he's not going anywhere. So to me, the move to bring him in, I questioned it, but I'm like, you know what? The man's been doing a good job the last 6 years. You know, he's earned enough trust with me to go do what he needs to do.
And beat you trust. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I trust God, but Veach does a good job.
Okay, yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, because trust me, it was hard. If I was going off of that, it was hard trusting last year. Like, bruh, come on, man. Kids, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
there's people walking the street that can catch the football now. You know, I can catch the football. I don't know if I can take a hit at my age, but I can catch the football. Come on, man.
Well, no, one thing, the rugby player is going to bring some toughness. We know that because
Oh, yeah.
you can't play rugby and not be tough, and maybe that's something they might need on that side of the ball. We'll see how that turns out.
Well, I think he is your replacement for Anthony Sherman or Burton.
Okay,
He's going to be your fullback, your like slot back guy. The old
what was his nickname? The
Washington
sausage? What
offense
did they call
H-back.
him?
Yeah, the sausage. Yeah.
I am not calling him
Yeah.
the grown man sausage.
So that's it for the Chiefs. Let's move across the Truman Sports Complex. The Royals had to be thankful for Sunday,
Ooh.
not just for it being Easter, but for hammering the Twins 11-0. Because I mean, you can't have a horrible start again. And they pick up a W today in Baltimore, so at least got 2 wins. So we're not in that meltdown that's happened too often where, hey, they play good in spring training, man, they're hitting the ball, and then the regular season starts and it's a beat down and well, we're done. You got to feel pretty good about the team. The starting pitching has looked terrific.
yes.
The bullpen's been a bit shaky, but you've had good starts from, at this point, all 5 starters in the rotation. When was the last time that happened for the Royals?
Oh, it's been a long time. Because even in the World Series teams, I don't know if you're getting that all through all 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the World Series team, the biggest problem with those teams was the starting pitching. The bullpen was tremendous, but it was a matter of, can we get it to the 5th?
Yeah. Nah, they look good. Cole Reagans looked good on the first day. That I thought the pitching was great in the Minnesota series. Just once the bullpen came in, it was not good. Brady Singer, what a game!
Yeah,
what a game! If you can get him to pitch, you get him live up to his potential that we know that he can have, and like you said, you got Cole Reagans up there. And man, I think they got that ahead. Get some of that more hitting coming through. Bobby Witt looked good on the second game that I was checking out. I went out there Saturday at the K. You know, they've been competing. It's just like you say, that bullpen kind of let them down in a couple of those games in Minnesota. And they're going to be coming back here this weekend. They need to take advantage of the early season. I can't stress that enough. How many times you get to June and they're already out of the playoff picture? Like, you got to at least stay competitive until June and see where it goes from there when it warms up.
Yeah, and then Darren, they turn it on at the end, but I think we're seeing some good signs. MJ Melendez looks dramatically more comfortable in the outfield, and it makes sense. I mean, the guy's a good athlete. I know I wouldn't have liked to have been told, hey, I know we were planning on you catching, but you're athletic enough. Here, go to the outfield and learn it on the fly in the major leagues. I mean, that had to screw him up last year.
Yeah, it did. Now, I'm gonna say for me, because I was out in Vegas last week, I did not get a chance to catch the game just because of the time difference and what I was out there doing. I'm actually going to the Worlds, I'm actually going to all the games every when they come back on the 4th. I'll be at all the games over the next week or so. So yes, I'll get a chance to see them closely once they return. It's funny because of the election and stuff. I talked to the vice president of PR who used to work for the Star, Sam
Mellinger.
Yes, Sam Mellinger. Talked to him on Monday, and so he was like, I said, I hadn't heard back about my credential stuff. Next thing I know, I look at my email today, and I get like 8 emails from the Royals. I said, oh, okay, that's what it was.
Come on down.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's funny because anytime I apply, I get approved. So this, and it does help that a guy who used to work for the Star, used to cover the Chiefs. That's all, no, I cover all the teams. So it's like it's no big, and like. Just different subject. Danny Welniak who used to be at Channel 5 as PR person for KC Current. So
Yeah.
it always helps that, you got people that was in the business that does that stuff now, get a credential like that. So it's like, yeah, cool. No problem. Even though I was doing it before they got there, but makes it that much easier now. So.
Is it the White Sox this weekend, Darren? Is that who they're playing?
Yes. Yeah. It actually is the White Sox.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good team to get well against too, because I don't think our old second baseman Chris Getz is going to be winning Executive of the Year this year. That is not a good baseball team.
No.
And I like Chris Getz. I think Chris Getz is a pretty good guy, but
no. And the sign of a
he's
good
got
team,
his hands full.
And the sign of a good team is beating up on the teams you're supposed to beat. So that
the good thing is, but the test is though, even though they got the White Sox coming in, they follow it up with against the Houston Astros. So
yes,
so that's going to be so. And it's interesting because there's a lot of people who were picking the Royals to actually win the division, which is crazy considering how they ended last season. So,
but
there's a lot of pressure. And the fact now, the one thing I do want to say, I hope that their attendance doesn't continue to trail off. I know they had a sellout 38,000 in the first game and did 19 and 13. So hopefully when they start the series, and again, I know it also deals with who you're playing as well, because you got tickets against the Chicago White Sox as low as $3. So.
Yeah. Well,
which means no
playing,
excuse for people need to come
time
out
of
to
the
the game.
year. Yeah.
Time
of the year. It's still school year. I mean, there's all sorts of things, but the one thing that cures attendance issues is winning. So if they can make up some ground in this division, I mean, it really is anybody's ball game, because here they're projected to win about 76, 77 games. Okay, well, maybe you win 10 games above projection. 87 wins, that probably wins this division. Because the Twins won't stay healthy. They never have. Buxton's due to get hurt. The pitchers are due to get hurt, and the rest of the teams,
Lewis got hurt
all
in the first game.
Yeah. Cleveland didn't spend any money because they were worried about the TV money.
Detroit's kind of in the same boat as the Royals. They're trying to come up a little bit too. So it's a matter of, okay, which one of Detroit or us can go up there and try to, battle against the Twins and keep the Guardians at bay as well too with their new manager.
Yeah, and if it's a competitive year all year, I think that's a huge win for the Royals.
Yeah. If you win, we will come.
Yeah, I mean,
like I said, right now, the Astros are 1-4, so you got a good chance to jump on them, next week when they come in as well. So, I mean, right now, not to just pressure on, because it really isn't, but actually, it kind of was with the election and stuff this week. But
opening weekend, you
do want the Royals, like you said, win the games. The White Sox are 0-for right now. Get on top of them when they come in on Thursday, and just and look, and you at least want to try to win your homestand. If nothing else, split 2-2 or 3-1 or something like that. So as long as you can get on the on the win on the plus side of your homestand, that helps a lot, especially when you have to go on the road.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. And if you can stack a few wins, because here, to be fair, if we compare baseball to football, I mean, basically you have to look at each 10-game stretch like you would look at one game of football. So you can't really go nuts about one series, but you don't want to get swept to start the season at home. So it's huge that they won that game on Sunday. Even in the big picture, it doesn't mean much.
Right.
Who do you guys feel is going to be the, outside of Bobby Witt Jr., who's going to be the biggest impact player this year for the Royals?
Ooh, because I was thinking Vinny Pasquantino is going to be the guy to step up. But man, MJ's already showing something right now, just from what I saw this past weekend. So that was good to see the swing coming through a little bit. So I like to see that. Salvi's going to be Salvi. I think that's going to be the case. I'm interested with Garcia leading off. That's kind of different this year. I don't think he was leading off last year. Was he, Gerald?
Not much, occasionally. And 2 home runs already for Garcia. He only had 4 all last season. Yeah. So he looks like a different hitter.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm going to go with Hunter Renfroe. For me, I mean, we got a man, I think, from Cincinnati. I mean, look, that's me. I mean, Bobby Witt's going to do his thing, and so I'm gonna go with Hunter Renfroe.
He's what I call a two-way player. He brings the glove and the bat. I like Hunter.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think he'll come through, and the Fresh Prince of the bullpen, Will Smith, gets his first save.
Oh, I
So
hope he looked
that's
better
good.
this Saturday because he did not look good Saturday. I was like,
Yeah,
"What is
well,
this dude out
he
here,
gets
man?"
he got a save today, so it was a good
What's that
outing
commercial with Caitlin Clark? They had the
Will.
other Caitlin Clark out there balling. That's who it was the other day. I was like, "Who is this Will Smith, man? Where did he find this guy at?" From
Yeah.
Raymore out here, man. This dude ain't Will Smith from the
Well,
Bravos.
all he does is win championships, so we'll
There
see
you
if that
go. There you
trend
go.
continues.
Okay.
On another team in the city that is looking for a championship. How about your Sporting Kansas City? We saw them just flat out meltdown against the LA Galaxy at Children's Mercy Park. And then they go on the road to a Toronto FC that's really off to the best start in that team's history. And Jake Davis comes through with a goal. Sporting Kansas City wins the game 3-1. That's huge. That's great to see, I think, for a team that, we're still kind of feeling a little uneasy about because of the way the season started last year, and you see some similar trends, but they went out and really decisively beat a good team on the road, which is hard to do in MLS. What do you
Much
guys?
needed win. They didn't play with their food this time. Although I was getting worried in the first half. They could have had 2 or 3 goals, and Toronto could have had 2 or 3
Yeah,
goals. But that second half, they got those goals finally, and they didn't let up this time. They actually kept the lead. Your boy, hey, little Walter, Remy Walter was out there with that banger in the first goal.
yeah,
Jake Davis is still ascending in the league. He's gonna mess around, be one of the best fullbacks in the league, period. Not just for Sporting, but he's about to be that guy here in a while. And the new guy, Vargas, came through with that goal as
yep.
well. So I love to see it. You can see people stepping up, and Willie Agata could have had a couple of goals last night. He's filling in out there for Johnny Russell and them. So I
Johnny
love
Russell,
to
yeah,
see it. Yeah. So a big win, like you said. They could have had already 6 points added to what the 9 points they got right now. So big. Even though they're in 6th place, like you say, right now, off to a way better start than what they did
yeah.
last year.
Still real early.
I'm sorry, and I was going to say the only thing I have to add to it is that I want to see some consistency. I know they're only like 6 games in, but you have a couple of draws and then you win one, you lose one, you win one. So I wanted to see going up against Portland this Sunday afternoon. I like to see them get 2 in a row, a little bit of consistency to build off of it.
Yeah, and let's establish. I mean, the formula for winning in Major League Soccer is pretty simple. Win at home, draw on the road, and occasionally steal a win. They just got to get that win at home part down. If they do that, they're fine, and they're doing it. I mean, Sporting here, I talked about the Twins always having injuries. We were excited that Sporting started the season without any injuries. They got Kyrie Shelton about ready to come back, and I know, hey, it's Kyrie Shelton, but he does have a role because he is a lockdown guy. He helps hold the lead and holds the ball. I like Kyrie. I think he's a valuable player to have back. But they're playing without him, playing without Johnny Russell right now, playing without Fontas. I mean, those are 3 key contributors that they're playing without. So you get those guys back and they hold. I think it's a great position as they move forward because at least they're not burying themselves like they did last year.
Yeah, and that midfield is still great. I like to see the midfield is still doing with Walter, Redoya, and Tommy. That's
Tommy.
A good midfield. Yeah. I love what Tommy's been bringing. Offensively, they've been good. Defensively, a couple of lapses here and there. I think that's where Darren might be saying as far as the consistency. I like to see more consistency in that area. They do pretty good. Just every now and then it's a lapse here and there, and you're like, oh, there's a goal. So you definitely want to make sure you stay there. But yeah, I think they've been looking great so far compared, like I said, to how they started off last season, where he was like, Peter might have to get up out of here. But looks like Peter might actually know what he's doing a little bit, just a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Now, he's a champion coach for a reason, man. He's smart. Look, I'm not going to be one that's going to profess to make it seem like I know soccer better than he does. So, and to be honest, even if you would let him go, are you really going to find somebody better than him right now?
No, man, he is Sporting. That's what's crazy.
Probably
That's all
not.
I've known since I've been here is Peter Vermees, Sporting KC.
Exactly.
Yeah, almost really almost since the beginning. I got to watch him a little bit during the Tony Meola, Alexi Lawless era, but as
Wow.
long back as you remember, yeah, it was Peter Vermees and Sporting Blue, Sporting Fit. So glad to see them making some moves, and hopefully they can get to where our other soccer team is sitting right now, top of the table. Your Kansas City Current, they are really rolling now. Records for the most combined goals scored. Well, that's not exactly a great record, but 11 scored, 7 given up. Most goals scored, that's the better record in 3 games. And the most goal scorers with 9 different scorers. They're looking great. They beat Angel City. Tembla got her goal. And, you know, this kind of sounds crazy, but when we got a chance to go to the Currents practice last week, and you only get to see the initial drills, but we had a chance to talk to Tembla, and she said, well, hey, I want to make sure Kansas City knows I'm a good player. And I said, well, I think Kansas City knows you're a good player. We just need to see you score a goal. And, you know, they want to see you celebrate. And she said she was going to do the Wakanda forever, which is terrific. But what you noticed watching them, yeah.
Yeah. Like, yo.
What we noticed watching them practice, she was doing just basically playing a keep away drill. She was doing no look passes. She was looking right, passing to the left, and shooting lasers across their circle of like 8 players as they were kicking the ball back and forth, keeping away from the defenders. I mean, amazing ball control skills that just not many people have. And it's terrific to see that kind of explosive scoring coming and seeing the Current rise, because who would have thought? I mean, 5 years ago, Darren, did you think Kansas City would be the home of the first women's only professional stadium and that a women's soccer team would be selling out every match?
Yeah, because of who one of the owners is. That's why.
Yeah.
She played professional soccer.
Brittany Mahomes.
Rookie season. Yeah, during Patrick's rookie year, and so once she came over and was going to be here full time, I know that was one of the things that she was really wanting to get done and have a part of her legacy. And I mean, what better way to do it? And so now you've established it to where really on top of the soccer games that they're going to have there. I mean, I think the Big 12 is going to be having their stuff there.
Yep.
I don't know about the high school. I don't know the high school state championships or whatever it's going to be. It may be, but but the fact that they've created something. I mean, and I was there for the first game where it was broadcast live on ABC and ESPN Plus. I mean, it was just. I mean, it's a fascinating thing, which is actually for me. I'm gonna probably go to more Current games than I will Sporting KC because it's only less than 7 minutes from where I live, so I can easily get there and not have to worry about it. So, Sporting Kansas City, it is a drive, but for me, it's also near the casino, which I'm trying to stay away from. And usually, for whatever reason, Sporting Kansas City is always going on when there's another event that I'm covering, whether it's the Royals or Chiefs, and I'm like, well, come on,
sure.
I know which way.
Yeah, they're playing early this Sunday too, at like noon or something like that.
Yeah,
but the Royals play at 1:10. So
at the same time. Well, and hey, Darren, you know that Bally's Kansas City just remodeled $40 million of renovation, is directly across the street from CPKC Stadium. I don't want to drive you away, but it's right there.
I live 5 minutes. Look, I'm literally just one exit from there. And to be quite honest, look, as people know, I used to hit the crap table all the time. But I have not been to Kansas City casinos in the last 2 to 3 years.
Wow.
Oh, there you go.
Because I've discovered sportsbook betting, so I just
Yeah, and
that's my thing. And so
unfortunately,
even when I travel to Vegas, even when I travel to Vegas, while I stay in the casinos, I don't really, I did gamble the Saturday before the Super Bowl. I hit the crap table and won 1,300, but that was
there you go.
I didn't even gamble last week when I was in Vegas. It was hard. Trust me, it was hard. I was in the sports book, but I did not.
I got to hit the stadium.
Well,
yes.
it's so easy there, but it is crazy that you don't have sports books in Missouri yet. You'd think that would have already
gotta
happened.
happen, man. What are we waiting on? Governor Parson, come on, man.
Yeah,
not
they
the
need
governor.
to punch
The
that.
governor's fine with it. It's not the governor.
It's the state legislatures.
Yeah.
They want
get
those,
him out of office.
Yeah, they want those illegal slot machines in the center of the state.
Oh my goodness.
That's the whole debate. It's crazy because you got every pro team in the state wants it. And
that piece of the pie. Yeah.
it'd be a big chunk of revenue. But not
Shout out
yet.
to the Current though. They've been on ABC twice. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Both the home games have been on ABC. Shout out to Bia. She be out there getting the goals. We got Bia, we got Timwa. The Binya even played. She got hurt the second game, and they're still out here scoring goals for fun.
And
you talking about entertainment. If you go to a Current game, you will be entertained. That's what we've seen so far. Goals galore out there at CPKC.
Yep, and Dabina should be back for that next Current game because they said she was just going to miss until this international break, which is right now. So I think we'll see her coming back, and they're sitting at the top of the table. The Royals got a couple of wins. The Sporting with a big win. Wanted to get one more story though, because a team that didn't really get the big win, but maybe they're moving the right way. A guy comes back home to KU from South Dakota State. He's hopping his way to Lawrence. New shooting guard Mayo coming from the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. Do you think KU can hit the transfer portal? Maybe Johnny Furpey stays. Maybe the Minsky's money makes Hunter Dickinson stay another year. Maybe he's got a little more NIL than that. I don't know. Does Bill Self turn it and get KU back to the top where you expect them to be, the top of the table in the Big 12 next year?
Well, I mean, I do, but you can't account for injuries. And I think, and I think, obviously the kid that got hurt right before,
McCullough.
McCullough. I mean, you can't account for that. But yeah, he's got it to Porter because the other problem that they have is they didn't have any depth. And so, I mean, you got players on the bench, but I guess you're redshirting them. So, or they're not. I don't even know. Again, it always baffles me why, you got players on the bench that you're not playing, but they got a scholarship like something right. But that again, that's just me. I'm old school, so I do expect him to hit the portals. I know he still likes to get high school kids, but I'm thinking more along the lines of Deion Sanders. They ask him why he doesn't do any travel to charter, dress, whatever, go visit high school students. He's like, I'm trying to win. He said, and not too many high school kids are going to come in and play right away. Now, obviously, basketball is a different sport, but if you look at a team like Kentucky gets a whole bunch of McDonald All-Americans, but what have they done over the last 5 years? They've been one and done in the playoffs or in the tournament. So, what you're seeing is which is funny. In college football, you can kind of develop them a little bit, but you don't have a lot of time, especially if you're trying to win now, especially now that they've expanded the college football playoffs where you got 12 teams. It's going to eventually be 14 teams, I think, 2 years from now. But in basketball, I mean, for a coach like Bill Self, you've got to be able to go out there and get players out the portal who either will fit your system, or you can find players that you can probably mold into your system, because what's happening is you look at a team like UConn. I mean, UConn is so experienced, or Purdue. They got the depth and they got the experience. And, you put that up against a whole bunch of 18, 19-year-old kids that haven't played together, that's going to get you knocked out every time.
As Dennis Gates.
And the Big 12 ain't getting no easier with the four corner
No.
schools coming in with Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah. So it's, as you can see, it's not going to be as easy for KU as it used to be. So, and they're not going to be the only school looking for transfers to come in and help out as
I forgot
well.
we have more teams coming in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I think
Which
they
is
got
good
two
because Big 12
ones,
tournament means it's gonna last the whole week. So
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
2 weeks,
Yep.
including the women too. Because
Yes,
the women's was
yes.
good. It gives me something to do. Gives me something to do throughout the days for 2 weeks. I ain't going to do
Yes.
nothing.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
hey, just as we're wrapping it up, it's close enough. University of Iowa. If you go to the Hy-Vees here, you see Caitlin Clark greeting you at the Hy-Vee Chinese food courts. How do you feel about women's college basketball? I mean, what a difference, you know? You had 7 million people watch the game with Iowa against LSU. It was the lead
No.
trailer on ESPN.
No. 12.3.
12.3.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
That's what came out.
The most in the history
Yeah.
of women's sports.
Okay, I was giving
Women's
you the
basketball.
demo, but yeah.
Oh,
No.
this is that.
And it could be bigger than that if I would play South Carolina for the championship. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But I was got to play UConn. Is that right? They're playing UConn? Whew.
Yeah.
That's going to be a game right there. And then North Carolina State, men's and women's in the Final Four.
Men's
Well,
and women's
UConn as
in.
well.
Yeah.
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 Now, what's interesting though is that I want to see what type of coaching moves Gina Auriemma, puts out against Paige against Caitlin, because every time Juju Watkins got the ball, he was blitzing her. Which, again, for me, I'm mad at the coaching calls for USC's coach, because like they only had 7 or 8 players, and they had 2 players that had 4 fouls, and you never went after them to get them to foul out.
Yes,
I do know that Juju drove to the basket a few times trying to draw the foul, and they didn't call it. But yeah, I think that was a big coaching malpractice. And Kim Mulkey, she waited too late to put the girl on to switch off from Haley Van Lith to Caitlin. And so, but it's good. I mean, look, I was hoping for Iowa USC, because I wanted to see Juju Watkins going up against Caitlin, but I'll set up a
Okay. Well, and I think Dawn Staley has to be feeling pretty good, because they're undefeated, and she's being able to draft in as the underdog.
Well, I don't know, because she was undefeated last year, and Paige had, Caitlin Clark put up 41 and 12 against her. So I mean, that ain't gonna matter, because if they meet up in the finals, that's gonna be the whole storyline over the weekend. Caitlin did it before in the semis when against the undefeated South Carolina team, but.
Very true.
But if I had to put my money on anything, I'm putting my money on South Carolina to win it all.
Yeah, and they said Don's got shooters this year, so we will definitely see this upcoming Final Four if they really gonna come through this year, because they came through a little bit, but this is when it's real now. This is when you really need them to step up. So we shall see.
Well, and just to wrap it up, let's do the in honor of our sister channel, the Wrestling Spotlight, weekly champions. So Darren, I'll let you go first. Whoever in the world of sports, it could be Kansas City, it could be anywhere. Who's your champion of the week? Who gets the belt for you?
Actually, it'll be a tag team. It's going to be Isaac the Pitbull Cruz along with Sebastian Fundora. I mean, these were 2 challengers in PBC's debut on Prime Video this past weekend. Both fighters knocked out the champions. Well, no, I'm sorry. Raleigh Romero got knocked out, TKO'd in the 8th round against Isaac Pitbull Cruz, and Sebastian won on a split decision against Tim Sue in the main event. And Sebastian, I think in the first and second round, caught Sue with an elbow to top of his head, where throughout the entire night, he was just gushing Ric Flair style.
I saw that. Yeah, that was a good comment.
Yeah, and so it was just one of those things where it was for me, it was a hell of a card. It was a hell of a debut. Getting a chance to talk to all the fighters, prior to the fight card and everything was a great honor and stuff like that. And to see it all, how it went down and stuff was great. So those are my 2 champions of the week.
Excellent. Chris, how about yours?
And And just real quick, there ain't nothing like watching boxing in person. I got to go check out Sugar Shane Mosley's son boxing out at what was that, Memorial Hall, or what is that
Yes,
over
sir.
at KCK? There's a hall
Yeah.
somewhere over there. It's
Yeah,
just to see
it's
boxing in
Memorial
person,
Hall.
way different
Yep.
watching on TV. The atmosphere is crazy. So I'm
Yeah.
with you on that. My champion. How about the ESPN studio crew with L. Duncan, Andrea Carter, and Shanae Ogum? I can't even say Shanae's last name, but I love watching the crew call games. I like watching them more than watching Clark and Kenny and your boy Ernie and them calling the men's team. They are a
They did a
great
great
team,
job.
man.
Yeah.
I love watching. They give great information, great feedback, and very entertaining. So I just want to give a shout out to those ladies. I've been watching a lot more women's college basketball this season and been pleasantly surprised. I already knew Andrea is a star, though, but just see all them three work together has been great coverage. I can't wait to see what they do this weekend for the women's Final Four.
Yep.
That's a good one, too, because I was actually saying that I think ESPN, ABC is doing a better job with the women's tournament than CBS has done with the men's. They've made it more compelling, and they've been able to tell more stories.
Yeah.
Which is huge. And I guess I'll go with the obvious one because I'm getting ready to fly out. I'm going to be covering Wrestlemania and everything around it for Wrestling Spotlight for the week. So I'm going to go with the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, because I think he gets his championship.
Is it happening? Is it going to happen now, Gerald? Is it going to happen this time?
It has to, right? I think it has to.
You got to do it for Dusty at least, right?
Wrestlemania is this weekend, right?
It is this weekend. It's going up against the Final Four, but I was walking at a local Hy-Vee, and I didn't realize I was wearing an American Nightmare T-shirt, and the guy at the cash wrap asked me from across the store, "Hey, is he going to finish the story?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." So I'll go with Cody Rhodes, and a second, just because she had said, "I want to prove to Kansas City I'm a good player." Temwa for getting her a goal and becoming the first player from Malawi to score a goal in professional U.S. soccer. So that's pretty neat.
Right.
Yeah, and hey, as we wrap it up here for the week on the FiredUP Network, Chris, let everybody know where they can hear you and what time they can hear you coming home.
Oh, yeah. Playmaker Show 3 to 7 Monday through Friday on Having No 3 Jams. You can check me out on kprs.com. That's the website. Having No 3 Jams is the app. And I also have a podcast on the side, Simps Ain't Easy, with my brothers, where we just cover everything in life. So make sure you check that out as well, wherever you get your podcast.
There you go. And Darren, where can people tune in?
Yes, so you can tune in on KLKC Fox Sports Radio on Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. and also Sunday nights at 8 p.m. as well. And you can catch it, if you can't catch it on the dial, you can catch it online at klkcradio.com.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks a lot for joining us. A packed week of sports and lots more coming because of our time. We're going to have to kick talking about the stadium to next week. But the good thing is there'll be all sorts of stuff to talk about with the stadium because the issue wins or loses, it's nowhere near being over. So plenty of stuff going on in Kansas City. Stay tuned to the FiredUP Network for more breaking sports news. I'm Gerald Bentley. Thanks.